Interrobang, I'm Gracia Espinosa, and welcome to a new episode of the Red Couch Podcast Summer Edition. And today we have Hannah Theodore, the editor of the Interrobang. I always introduce the same way because I don't know, it's the first episode for
That's true.
for our listeners. So
That's true. It could be your first time here. You could potentially not know that we've been hanging out every other week on the podcast talking about some timely topic, whatever it may be. So yeah, hi, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be back, and I'm very excited about what we're going to be talking about this week.
Yeah, we are going to talk about Olympic Games. We are so excited. I think we are going to talk about different things, not only the Canadian athletes. We are going to, I would like to say some interesting things that I discovered or I read.
Yeah.
So let's go.
For sure. I'll just say right off the top, I do love the Olympics. I love the games. I love obviously there are issues with like the institution or whatever, and whatever, we can talk all about that. But I do love the idea of like people coming together, and it's very cool to like watch people be the best at something, and I'm not a very athletically inclined person. So it's just really cool to like watch people be so good at something and like work so hard for something and, just like achieve their dreams. I think it's just really, really neat. So I'm very into the Olympics. I went to the Vancouver Games when they were here in 2010, actually.
Wow.
I know. Pretty like once in a lifetime experience. And it's so cool because we did like this, we got like a package of games we were able to go to. I was really young also. I was like in high school. And it's funny because like when you get these packages, like sometimes you end up at like some random event or something, right? And I think one of the events that we randomly ended up going to was like a women's hockey game between like two countries that like neither of them were Canada. Not even the US, right? It was like two random European countries.
When we watched the Olympic Games, we discovered countries that we didn't know existed.
and like it was just really cool to like and like everyone in the audience is mostly Canadian, right? But it was funny, like you would be like, okay, so we're gonna root for this team, and then everyone just roots for that team, and it's just like cool to like be in a crowd just kind of going along with it and having fun with it. I remember I went to a curling qualifier.
But curling is only for the winter games, right?
This was Winter Olympics. So, and I will say, I do love the summer games. I like gymnastics. I love the gymnastics. I love, obviously, basketball. I'm a big basketball fan. But I think overall, I'm a Winter Olympics girly.
Okay.
Do love the
Winter
Olympics, right? So this was cool. And I didn't know anything about curling. I remember, like, I was like, I don't know what the rules are. But again, when you're just like, and the Canadians were playing in this like curling round robin, and it was just like I learned the rules while I was there. All these Canadians all around us that were like just having the best time, and like it was even if you're like new to a certain sport, right, you watch it and it just becomes part of the experience. So I'm very I love the sports, I love the Olympics, and I'm having a great time watching what I can of these summer games.
Well,
so I had to preface with that.
I have never been in person Olympic Games, but I have to say that I was born in 1992 when in Barcelona held the Olympic Games.
Yes.
So Freddie Mercury and one of the most famous sopranos that we have, Montserrat Caballé, sang together the popular, one of the most famous songs about Barcelona that year.
I love that.
Yeah, it's funny because Freddie Mercury died before the ceremony. So it was a recording in that moment. They only could record together the video clip, the clip, together.
Well, and I don't know if this is one of your questions, but let's talk about, did you catch any of the opening ceremonies for Paris?
Mm-hmm.
So
How was for you?
I was coming in and out, obviously, because we were at work. And I was like...
It's true.
It was in the middle of the day.
I was with my laptop, sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it was in the background, So I was kind of coming in and out of watching it. I thought it was really cool the way they like, I've never seen it like that where it was all outside and like really used the landscape of the city, which was really neat. And there's some really weird stuff too, like the headless Marie Antoinettes, and like
I would like to say that I like heavy metal.
oh yeah, and it was with the metal music.
Yeah, but now that I am reading, the biography of Marie Antoinette, I would like to say why we had to show that and know the head of the King of France in that moment. Always Marie Antoinette.
That's actually very true, that she is like the face of the revolution when it was very much the king that, she represented something, I think. But it's very true. I feel like
I had that feeling in that moment that why always Marie Antoinette?
Misogyny probably. Not that I'm defending Marie Antoinette.
For me, it was a shock to show Lady Gaga, but it was not a live concert.
That's true.
It was recorded, so people was impressed that, hey, where is Lady Gaga? Lady Gaga is not here. It was prepared before the ceremony.
I guess that's the one thing about hosting your opening ceremonies, like out and about like that, to actually coordinate everything being live would probably have been very challenging. I think what they were able to do was really cool. And I mean, obviously, Celine Dion.
One, for me, the best part.
I keep watching it. Like, I can't stop watching it. And it makes me cry every time. But I just watch it again every time I see it. Like, I don't know. It's just very...
Have you watched the documentary in Amazon? Because
I haven't even seen it
yet. You have to watch it because if you watch it and after that, the ceremony in which she sang, most of the people were crying.
Like, her voice is going to get me no matter what. I think, like, I've always just, like, she has such an evocative voice and, like... But I guess I kind of like vaguely know about her health struggles, but I'm sure like with the documentary context, it must have been like really.
And it's funny because one of her biggest dreams since she was a teenager, it was singing in Paris in front of the Eiffel Tower.
Oh my gosh. It was such a beautiful moment. And I saw really cool, because obviously when they were showing it on TV, they were focused on her. But I saw really cool footage of people who filmed from down on the ground, and like the light show that was happening all around the Eiffel Tower. Like, I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. Like, it really added to the whole experience to see like the lights shining and like syncing up with these like long sustained notes. It was so cool. It's really cool.
And a lot of references of video games, Assassin's Creed. We had a historic reference to Victor Hugo, the famous writer.
Drag. There was a lot of drag. I noticed. I loved that. A lot of drag references, a lot of drag queens who I'm a big fan of. It was like so fun, like watching, like Scream. I was like, Brandon, my fiance. I'm like, Brandon, look, it's Nikki Doll. I'm like, it's just so cool seeing like the representation. And they had a whole section about like French women throughout history as well. I thought it was a really like representative history of like
paintings
France.
Too. I think they wanted to show the most emblematic of things that we know about France.
And arts and culture is so big, right? And then that whole section, like we were talking about with like the metal and the Marie Antoinette, right? To be so like explicit about how and Les Mis, right? Like because I was waiting for that. I was like, where's Les Miserables? Like they need to do a Les Miserables reference.
A lot of reference.
Yes, but that's such a important piece of French history too, right? Is the rebellion of it, and like to this day, like the French they'll tell you if they don't like something, right? And the protests that they are able to stage out there are like very reflective of that history of rebellion for sure.
Well, there was a polemic about, the moment that they recreated the famous painting of Leonardo da Vinci. But I would like to say that one of the things that I didn't like, and it's a a thought that I had. It's the moment of the ships, because I think we lost the moment that all the athletes could be together.
Right.
Because when they are walking, after they show their flags and they can, have other athletes, they can meet other countries at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think we lost that moment with the ships because they were separate.
I noticed that too, and I felt like it kind of separated the athletes from the crowds too, because like that moment when the team walks in to the stadium and the crowd like erupts and cheers or whatever, we kind of were like robbed of that because they did have them just kind of like floating down the scene.
Yeah.
I mean, it was an interesting thought, but I agree. I think it left a little something to be desired for sure.
So
okay, let's talk about the sports. See,
we
could
can
go on
talk
forever.
about the ceremony, but now
It was beautiful.
because I would like to talk about the rising stars on the Canadian team.
Yeah.
Because 2 of them are from London.
Yeah, we've got 2 pretty notable athletes. If you were following the Olympics, which, the Tokyo Games were supposed to be in 2020. They were actually like 2 years ago because of the pandemic. They were postponed. So this will be fresh in like a lot of people's memories, right? We've got Maggie McNeil, who's our amazing Olympic swimmer from London, Ontario. She trains she did train at one time at the pool over on Adelaide.
The fastest athlete in the field and one of the most consistently highest scoring athletes to ever contest the 10 events discipline.
You're talking about Damien Warner.
Yeah. Damien Warner.
So Maggie McNeil is the swimmer. Damien Warner is our decathlon.
Okay, Maggie Mag is the Olympic champion in 100-meter butterfly.
Correct.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. No, that's okay.
Because they were very fast. So
they're both very fast athletes. One in the pool, I guess technically also Damien Warner would also be swimming. Those decathletes do it all, don't they? So yeah, they both won gold at the last Olympic Games. Damien Warner, I think, has a Fanshawe connection as well. So when you win the decathlon at the Olympics, especially in the men's, because that's how the world works, the title is like literally you are the greatest athlete in the world. Like that's the title. So the greatest athlete in the world is from London, Ontario.
Wow.
Currently, now we're back again. So we'll see how it goes. Maggie has not been quite as successful in the pool yet as she was last time. However, when you talk about rising stars, Summer McIntosh is definitely one to watch in the pool. She's only 17, this girl. And
one of the youngest one in these Olympic Games.
She's truly one of the youngest. She's already won a silver medal, and I think she was in a total of 7 events.
Wow.
And she's still got some to go. So keep an eye on her. She's incredible. I'm always the swimmer. I love the swimming. Yeah. I get so hyped on the swimming
because Canada, in this moment that we are recording this episode, 6 medals.
6 medals across the board.
2 gold, 2 medal, and 2 bronze. Bronze. Yeah, you say bronze. How do you
bronze?
How do you say? It's gold, silver, and
bronze.
Bronze. Okay,
you got it. Okay, you had it.
So yeah. We have the swimming women's 400-meter individual medley.
Yeah.
Summer
McIntosh.
There she is. Yeah, she was the winner.
Yeah.
And in freestyle too, the same.
Yeah. So she's won gold and silver so far. And again, this girl's 17. It's pretty crazy. She's going up against like really established swimmers too, from Australia and the United States. Yeah, she's killing it. I mean, and also like. Not just the Canadian athletes. I think anyone around the world is probably watching the U.S. women's gymnastics team. It's kind of the big one, right? Simone Biles.
Wow, the returning of Simone Biles is amazing because we have to mention that she didn't compete in Tokyo Olympic Games.
Yeah.
Because she was one of the gymnastics who was in the trial against this American trainer who did a lot of sexual harassment and a lot of horrible things to different athletes. One of them was Simone Biles, and she decided not to compete in in the Olympic Games of Tokyo because she considered that her mind and her body was not connected.
Yeah. So, and it was pretty devastating at the time. She was dealing with the trial of her former coach or her former trainer or doctor. She went to Tokyo, but dropped out there.
Yeah.
Like she was going to compete and she ended up deciding not to because of what you say, this sort of disconnection between her mind and her body, which when you're a gymnast, you need that, right? And the term they used to describe it was the twisties, right? Because it would genuinely impact the way that you were able to perform and you could potentially get injured. So she made the choice to drop out. I was learning too that like another piece for her was that would have been, again, because Tokyo was kind of still COVID laden, right? That was the first Olympic or really any competition event that she competed in where her family wasn't there. So she didn't have her family, she didn't have her husband or her parents. And, a lot of that contributed to, I think, what ended up happening. But now, yeah, like you say, she's back. She's already been doing incredible. The women won gold in the team final, the U.S. women. So it really does show, like, when you put yourself first, and like she's been taking the time since then to go to therapy and like focus on her mental health. It made a difference.
Because not all the athletes after this trauma can come back.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to come back. It's important to remember like the connection between your mind and your bodies. And like, I think in a lot of ways, the decision that she made will be like so impactful for sports in general. Right.
And after the Olympic Games in Tokyo, it was only 3 years after the next one. So they had to prepare in only 3 years. So I really think that the athletes of these Olympic Games are superhuman beings because it's for 3 years.
Yeah. It was a lot quicker than usual. I think, 2 years really, because it would have been 2022. So yeah, they had to prepare a lot sooner than most athletes would. And a lot of athletes that had hopes of competing in 2020, it's just, you have to keep putting it off over and over and over again. And I'd spoken to like Olympic hopefuls at the time, in 2020 who were just like not sure what was going to happen next, right? Like they were waiting for trials. They thought they were going to be, competing to see if they were going to get to go, and then it just never ended up happening until 2 years later. So, yeah, it's pretty wild how it all turned out, but it's cool to see like just a full-on proper Olympic Games again. And to see it going so well for so many athletes. I feel like everyone's just happy to be together,
So we are watching most of the Olympic Games in Paris, but at the same time, the Olympic Games is taking place in Tehupo Reef Pass, Tahiti, the French Polynesia. And it's the first year that Canada and Mexico are going to do the debut. Oh. Yeah, in surf.
Oh, in surfing. That's
in surfing,
right.
Because not all the people know that, of course, in Paris there is no proper sea to practice this, to do this sport. So
it's sort of like off the coast somewhere.
Yeah, it's in French Polynesia.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I think I was seeing some of the just like the views from out there and what it looks like. It looks so beautiful. Like a much different pace, right, than being like in Paris. It's been really cool the way some of the events in the city have incorporated like the landmarks, like watching the volleyball with the Eiffel Tower like right behind them. Like it's just so cool, like this really like historic city that has these these really cool Olympic events happening just like right next to them.
There is always a controversy about what sports are included in the Olympic Games, because we can see games or sports that are not included in the next Olympic Games. So, for example, surf. This year, Canada competes, but we don't know if the next Olympic Games in Los Angeles will be. I mean, I suppose that, but karate is not in the Olympic Games, for example. It's judo, but not karate.
Yeah, it's always, for me, the big one's always dance. And I will I will die on the hill that like dance could be an Olympic sport. But you know what? I was talking to my fiance about this, and he was like, because I think breaking this year is an Olympic sport, breakdancing, which I was thinking about that. And I was like, interesting choice to like include breakdancing.
For this year, for the first time.
Yes. And it is incredible athleticism, breakdancing, but so is like all dance, you know? And I was kind of talking about it and trying to figure out like why historically it's been excluded, because it kind of comes up every year, right? This question of like, why isn't dance?
Why this one? It depends of the committee of the Olympic Games.
Yes,
they decide,
exactly.
they take the decisions to include or not this sport.
And what I kind of determined was like dance in and of itself was inherently performative, whereas like sports are inherently competitive. Obviously, as dance evolved, competition dance is like very common now, right? Whether it's ballroom or jazz or whatever. We all know that competition dance exists and there are legitimate ways to like judge dancing. But for whatever reason, it just hasn't like broken that barrier of competition. But I think it would be amazing. I mean, if we can have ice dancing, we could have ballroom dancing. You know what I mean?
My theory for that is because breaking dance, it could be similar to parkour. You know, parkour is so important in France. I mean, the word parkour comes from French. Yeah. So I think it could be something related to that. I don't know, but
I also think again when we talk about I think again when we talk about like competition versus performance, breaking also has a history of like battles, you know, like sort of like I'll break and then you do your thing, and then it's like we, you know, however loud the crowd cheers is whoever danced better, right? That's sort of like built into breaking as a culture. Where again, I think maybe other forms of dance are more rooted in performance. All that being said, I think that we will one day see, you know, ballroom dance and other forms of dance at the Olympic level, because I think we know at this point how truly like athletic dancers are. You know, it's not a question of that anymore.
Well, for me, I would like to see. I would like to know the word in English, because for the athletes who compete in the artistic gymnastics, I would like to see men. That's one of the dreams that I will...
Men artistic gymnastics. Yeah, they do. I was learning about the differences between like men's and women's gymnastics and like the different kinds of events and stuff.
Right now in the artistic, only women can compete.
Yeah.
So...
That'd be pretty cool. I'd love to see certain elements too, even like they both have to do floor routines, like men and women, but the men don't have any dance elements, you know?
Still not. And there are athletes from different countries that they compete in their hometowns, but they cannot participate in the Olympic Games. And it doesn't matter if they are very good, because there is no men's category.
Yeah, I would love to see that too. I mean, I'm always for more gymnastics. I love the gymnastics.
I think the most important message that they want to show to the world is sport is very important.
Yeah.
And you can highlight, because we have to say this, the sport life is short. I mean, if you want to compete in the Olympic Games or as a professional, but you can do greatest things, and you can show not only it's good for your health, you can show that you can be the best of the best in sports too. I think it's the most important message they want to send to the world. And I think it's a TV program that of the citizens should watch once in their life with their families.
For sure. Take the time. Like it is definitely worth it even if you can only catch a couple of events, right?
It's difficult because right now with the time zone, with 6 hours of difference, we live in the past, they live in the future.
It's hard to like catch every single thing, but take note, especially if there's like an athlete from your hometown or from Canada, you know, just take note of when some of those events might be on. Try to find the time, get together. It is really cool to be with other people, right? And like watching those sports, because I do think there's like a cool aspect of just like coming together that I do really like about the Olympics. And I've been having a great time so far, and I'm excited for more men's basketball coming up soon. I'm very excited for that. The U.S. team are so scary. It's just like a team of NBA players. All the best NBA players on like one team.
Well,
it's really funny.
In soccer, for example, Spain is one of the
of course
of the best, but it happens in hockey. You should be
exactly
the best. So
yeah. There's always something we all excel at. I will say the Canadian men's basketball team is also pretty fire.
You won Greece in basketball, and one of the most popular players from Greece is in the American an American team. So congratulations, Canada.
Giannis Antetokounmpo is on the Greek team. There's kind of it's funny. There's like NBA players kind of scattered all over. Like obviously the Serbian team, the Greek team, the German team has like a bunch of NBA players. It's just that like the U.S. team has like LeBron James and Anthony Edwards and like all the best players currently in the NBA. But it's just cool to like watch everyone compete at that level and in those different combinations too, right? It's neat and with different rules. Sorry, I could talk a lot about basketball.
We could talk a lot, but before finishing this conversation, I would like to say something because a lot of people ask me why Snoop Dogg brought the torch during the Olympic Games, the inauguration. And it's because he's going to be one of the sport commentators for the next Olympic Games.
Okay. Of course, LA.
Because people were like, but he's a rapper. He's not, an athlete. So why? And that's the reason. Because people ask me and...
That makes a lot of sense. The King of Los Angeles, I think. That's
2028.
How exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Good talk.
Yeah.
I love the games.
Yeah, me too. We could talk a lot about the Olympic Games all the day, but we have to finish. Thank you so much, Hannah.
Thank you.
For this interesting conversation. For sure, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Red Couch Podcast Summer Edition. You know that you can catch up with every episode on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, because you can see these beautiful faces if you prefer to listen our episode in this social media. Subscribe to our newsletter.
Yeah.
So for the Interrobang, I'm Gracia Espinosa.